again, the characterization on the Republican side, Nicole, in Virginia, too early, but Trump leading. No surprise there. In Vermont, too early with no characterization of the race other than that. Nikki Haley obviously would love to get a win tonight. Getting a win in Washington, D.C. is the world's smallest win, but it was a win, and it gave her a bunch of delegates this past weekend. She'd love to have another win tonight. But the case that she's been making is, listen, I'm an accountant. I know that I'm not winning these places, but I also know that the share of the vote that I'm getting is important. It's not a minuscule little number here. And regardless of how many delegates it translates to, regardless of whether or not I have the chance to overtake Donald Trump at any point, I'm attracting a large enough proportion of the vote that we should recognize that as a threat to Donald Trump in the general. Do you think that case is factual? Do you think that she has the chance to add to it tonight?
Well, I think if you're Nikki Haley and you're really, you know, staring at the bottom of your empty glass of Merlot or whatever it is she drinks, you wonder what would have happened if you'd made the fitness argument against Donald Trump a year ago. She's only running the way she's running today in very, very, very recent history. And when you listen to her voters, she's got to wonder if she could have convinced more of them that he's a, quote, her voters today, I don't have it here, but they called him a lunatic. They called him unfit. They called him crazy. There was the woman that we played that knew that he was found guilty of sexual assault. That's the verdict in the Eugene. I mean, she connected with her voters on the facts of Trump in a way that no Republican really has in the time of Trump. Yeah. So if you're Nikki Haley and you're being honest, you're wondering what would have happened if you'd run this campaign a year ago.
Yeah,
Nicole, how do you compare the Chris Christie campaign, which did what you're suggesting, to the Nikki Haley campaign? Nikki Haley is the last one standing. And is that because, and I don't know, is that because she did not offend Republican voters early by telling them, in effect, you were wrong in who you voted for last time? You know what I mean? She stretched it out to the point where she can say it now because she's the last one standing. Does the Christie example show us that as an early strategy would lose, or was Haley somehow just a better candidate who would have done it better than Christie?
I mean, this is where the vestiges of my Republican ties sort of, and I think I shared some of this reporting with you on an earlier primary night. I mean, I think Haley killed Christie in the back rooms. Haley killed Christie by getting the donor money. Haley killed Christie by having people like Dina Powell walk in the halls of investment banks and telling people she's the kinder, softer, gentler Republican, and under her everything will be all right. And Christie was too known. And so I think the reason is Haley and not Christie. And you're right, as an avatar for anti-Trump Republicanism, he was first, he was earlier, he's louder, and he's more Trumpy. But she killed him in the back rooms of what's left of Republican sort of money politics.
And 2 points on her evolution, which the party knew. She was first introduced as a Trump appointee.
Yeah.
And so she did have to sort of evolve that story over time. And look, no one's sitting here saying, oh, my gosh, she's sweeping tonight, but she did better than every other candidate, including those with buzz and money like DeSantis. So I think she did, with the team around her, figure out, let's tell this story of how you slowly, over time, lost faith with the person that you served, which is how people met you.
Which, let me say, it's ludicrous, because the people that served with him were the ones that wanted to use the 25th Amendment.
Right.
It's like the most nonsensical argument you could ever make, because all of the reporting about the 25th Amendment was all sourced back to Trump's own cabinet, and she was in those rooms.
And she was there.
It's an asinine argument, but it is what she argued.
It's what she presented.
To Lawrence's point, it is gentle, right? Like, what did she say? She was like, he was the right president for the time. But now I think, man's a lunatic and crazy, he can't be there anymore. He was like saying, there's nothing wrong with you. You were right to pick him before. I was right to serve him before. But now, looking ahead to a 2024 election, of course you wouldn't pick that old man. And that's an on-ramp, right?
And by the way, she has something that Chris Christie doesn't have, which is that she also could be a softer version of the Roe argument. I think Christie could never have taken advantage of the one thing she had going for her, which is that she's a lady. And so she could actually make a softer version. It's still an anti-abortion argument, but that is their biggest peril, period, going into November. It's still the biggest threat to Donald Trump, to Republicans down ballot. And so I think because she's a woman, she was able to stand on the stage with all those men, including the blustery Chris Christie, and be the softer, gentler, including being a woman, being more trustworthy to female primary voters. I think she had that advantage going in, and she's just actually a better politician than Chris Christie. I think she just presents herself really well, and she came across, and I think the second piece that we don't really talk about anymore, and it's so weird because I'm so used to talking about Republicans, is on foreign policy. Like, she stood 10 toes down on Ukraine. Like, she's the one who mocked and ridiculed DeSantis on the issue of international spending and on us being an actor and a player in the world. And I think she made that case better than Chris Christie. So, you know,
which
give
I
her
think
props for
helped
being a
with
better
the
politician.
investment banker backroom discussion.
Dina
I mean, she
Pound
killed
discussion.
Pence, and
She
Pence,
did.
you know,
Absolutely.
used to be an establishment kind of Republican, and she really
Nicole,
did.
could you take us back into the Republican money rooms for just one more question? I've never been there. And I've always wanted to ask them. Was Nikki Haley saying in the campaign what they wanted her to say? Do they agree with that analysis that she should have sloped it up the way Ari describes her accurately as having done? Or did they actually want her to sound like Chris Christie?
I mean, look, Steph Ruhle is going to be able to speak to what they wanted her to sound like better than I can. I mean, my sources are more on the political side. And on the political side, she just manipulated the dynamic. She manipulated the money better than he did. She made the argument that she was going to be able to bring Republican voters along. It's my understanding, I have some sources on the Christie side, that it was underhanded and backhanded in some ways.
There's a little resentment there?
I mean, look, we're talking about her. I mean, whatever it was, it worked.